Hey you guys. Okay, so I am here today just really quick to kind of show you a quick pattern hack for the Jam Jam Sleepwear. For the top. My 7-year-old wants a Christmas dress. So this pattern is super fun and it's super quick, so I figured it would be just as easy to hack the shirt to make it into a nightgown. So I'm just gonna show you how I changed the pattern, and nothing too difficult by any means, but sometimes it helps to see a visual. So that's what I'm gonna show you today. Okay, so I just am using my tracing paper. This is just medical exam paper, the paper that you see at the doctor's tables. But this is what I use for my tracing paper. And what I've done is I just have the pattern, the original pattern, here in the two sizes that I am using. I have to blend, or I'm gonna blend out for the hips. So it's a size 6, and then I will blend to a size 8 for the hip area for my daughter. So what I've done is just lined up the edge to the fold line over here. And I measured a dress that my daughter is currently wearing, and I measured it to be 23 inches from the bottom. I just did it from the bottom of the arm side, I guess. I did it from the bottom of that down to her knees, which is where I want it to hit. The reason I did that is because this back piece has a yoke up here, so I didn't want to do it from the top of the shoulder. I figured it'd be just as easy to do it from the arm side. And then I just went down and I did 23.5 inches. So this is 23.5 inches right there. And I added that extra for the seam allowance. Really, really her measurement was like 22. So I just kind of rounded it up because she wanted it just a little bit longer. So yeah, so 23.5 is what I'm gonna do. That will account for the seam allowance there. Now that I have this mark at 23.5, I'm going to slide this paper up and I'm going to keep it, there we go. So this is the mark that I had made because I kind of did an A-line out, right? So I kind of A-lined it out. This is the bottom, this is 23.5 inches, and I'm going to kind of use this original hemline for my hemline. So that way I have a little bit of a curve, just as the pattern originally intended. Now at this point, because I did go A-line, I'm just kind of freehand this a little bit. Not my specialty by any means, but that is what I'm going to do. So that way we have a little bit of a curved hem, okay? So now that I have this, like I said, this is the back piece. So now that I have one piece, I can use this now to trace it on the front pattern. And again, I'm just using the arm side, the bottom of that, as my guide. So just marking this as I do. Size 8 hip. And we'll put my grain line in here because that way it will help. So anyway, so that is pretty much it. Like I said, I'm just gonna use this now to trace it on top of that. So that's what I'll be doing next. Okay, so now I'm gonna work my front piece. So, this is the front piece. I started to trace off the size 6, and I just traced it until right around the waistline area. I'm gonna grab this back piece, the one that I previously cut out. I'm going to line it up. So I'm gonna kind of work with the bottom of that arm side as my guide. So I'm gonna match up those 2 points. I also remember I blended or graded out to a size 8 around the hip line. So kind of keeping that lined up and then matching up my hip line here. The back piece is wider because we have the gathers in the back. So not paying any attention to that. All I'm looking at is this side over here, sides here. And this way I can blend out to a size 8 again and kind of have them match up. I'm just gonna use that original piece there. So this is gonna be my line. I marked the bottom of the line, so I kind of lined it up to here. So this is the bottom of my back piece. And I made a little slash right there so I can remove this pattern piece out of the way. And right now I have my arm side coming down to the bottom. So this paper is actually still attached to the roll, so I'm going to cut that. Should have done that earlier, sorry. And then, like I said, now I'm gonna slide this up, focusing just on the bottom of the pattern there. I'm gonna wind it up. So I'm gonna kind of eyeball that a little bit. Okay, so now I'm matching up the edge of the pattern piece with the fold line. I just move this up. This is the mark that I made as the bottom. So I'm lining it up here because our sides we want our sides to be the same. So I definitely know this is where I want the side to stop. The front is of this pattern is higher and the back is a little bit lower. So this will not have as much of a curve. I'm just gonna kind of, like I said, kind of freely draw this to kind of give it a little bit of a curve up. Just kind of smooth that out a little bit so that it will sort of mimic what the original pattern had intended. Okay, so I move this back into frame. It's kind of hard to see, I totally understand. I'll show you once I have them cut out, but that is just how I lengthened it and how I made them match. So I'm gonna cut these pattern pieces out. The yoke and the sleeve and the neckband are all going to be the same. It's just how I added that length. Okay, so I'm back because I have one more adjustment that I need to make to this, because as I was cutting things out, my 7-year-old came in and said, wait, you're gonna use long sleeves, right? I was not necessarily planning on long sleeves, but hey, why not? I guess it is Christmas time. I live in Arizona, so we can get away with things a little bit easier here because it does not get super cold. However, it is kind of cozy to have long sleeves. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to adjust that using the pattern piece as well. Okay, so this is the pattern piece that comes with the pattern for the Jam Jam Sleepwear. I cut out the size 6 because that is the size I need. And again, using the edge of this tracing paper, I just clipped it in place so that I can trace it. I do not want to, I'm going to keep the arm side the same, the slope the same, and then I'm going to trace that out. Again, I measured my daughter from the underarm point down, and I'm going to add 14 inches. I do want to kind of slope it in a little bit. This does kind of have a little bit of a baggier sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 14 inches straight down. And then I will mark that point right there. Now this time, I will just straighten that out. This would be probably less confusing if my paper underneath was not. I have a board underneath with the measurements and I didn't put it on there straight, but that's okay. So hopefully that's not throwing you off at all. But like I said, I then will be able to use this as my sleeve. We will do the fold line on here as well. So that is going to be my sleeve pattern and we will give it a shot. Hopefully it works. I'm gonna plan on just using a hemmed sleeve if I did happen to make it too short, which sometimes I've done. A cuff option is always great. So like I said, I'm gonna plan on just doing this as a straight hem, and if she tries it on and it happens to be too short, I might adjust it to do the cuff. Hey guys, okay, so I am back. It's a new day. I finished up this nightgown, or almost finished this nightgown up last night. It turned out so cute. It's just slightly below her knees. I added just a little peak of color right there. This actually is gonna be matching the other Jam Jam Sleepwear set that I made for her older sister. So they love like little hints of matching. So I put that little pop of color there to match her sister. And like I said, it turned out really cute. It has that slight high-low hem, just like the top does. The only thing I need to do, so if you remember, when I was doing the sleeves, I did the long sleeves, and I did it 14 inches from the arm, from the bottom of the arm to the end. And it technically is kind of perfect for her. It hits her, I mean, like right now, not hemmed, it hits her right there. So if I hemmed it just a little bit, it would just be slightly maybe above her wrist. She wants it cozy and Christmassy, and she loves having cuffs anyway. So we are gonna go ahead and do a cuff on the bottom of that. Like I said, I was just kind of winging it. I didn't think too much about the sleeve. In retrospect, it probably would have been better to err on the side of long so I could cut it. But like I said, she wanted the cuff anyway. So I am gonna take a little bit of length off. I'll probably cut, so my cuff is, so this is how I decided what to do for my cuff. I mean, I could probably measure it and just figure it out just fine, but I do have the Moto Max pattern open on my computer right now because I'm making pajamas for my son. So in that pattern, they had a sleeve cuff dimension in there. So I went ahead and just used that. So this is 7 inches wide by 6 inches high. I sewed it, just folded it over. So it's 3 inches in height right now. Obviously we'll lose something for the seam allowance. She is wanting it longer rather than shorter. So I'll probably cut maybe 1.5 inches off of this, maybe even 2 inches. What do you think?
I like it.
You like it? All right, let's stand back here a little bit. All right, so it's a really good length, right? Just right below your knees. What else do we got?
We get color on the back and the cuff.
The color on the back, I'll show that first. So we just did a little, the back yoke, we did in a little bit of color that matches Peyton's pants, right? So it matches Peyton's pants. And then what else did we do that you?
We have cuffs.
The cuffs. So I ended up cutting off a little, like 1 inch of the length that I originally had and put a cuff on it, which is actually perfect because the sleeve has it's a little bit baggier anyway, so it kind of brings it in and it makes it really cozy, huh? Do you love it, love it? All right, so guess what?
What?
First pair of Christmas pajamas are done. Thank you guys so much for sewing along with us. I hope you have an awesome day. Say bye.